Welcome to Mind Care is Self-Care. Protect your peace, reclaim your mind. Finding the courage to disappoint others while staying true to yourself. One of the most emotionally exhausting ways to live is to constantly shape yourself around other people's expectations. It rarely looks dramatic from the outside. In fact, it often looks admirable. You are the dependable one, the flexible one, the kind one, the one who never makes things harder for anyone else. The one who says yes before even checking your own emotional capacity. The one who bends, adjusts, accommodates, and absorbs. People praise you for your generosity. They call you selfless. They say you are easy to be around. They appreciate your willingness to help, your ability to stay calm, your refusal to create conflict. But privately, something else is happening. You are tired. Not just physically tired, but soul-level tired. The kind of tired that comes from living too far away from yourself. This is what happens when people-pleasing becomes a lifestyle. It does not just drain your schedule, it drains your identity. Many people mistake people-pleasing for kindness, but they are not the same thing. Kindness is an honest offering. People-pleasing is often fear, disguised as generosity. Kindness says, I want to help. People-pleasing says, I am afraid of what will happen if I do not. That distinction matters because one is rooted in love and the other is rooted in self-abandonment. Most people do not consciously decide to become people-pleasers. It usually begins much earlier, often in childhood. Maybe you learned that peace in your home depended on your ability to stay agreeable. Maybe love felt more available when you were useful. Maybe conflict felt dangerous, so you became skilled at avoiding it. Maybe you learned to scan the room constantly, sensing what others needed before they even asked. Maybe your role became the easy child, the helper, or the peacemaker. Over time, your nervous system learned an equation. Harmony equals safety, and disagreement equals threat. That equation may have protected you once, but now it may be imprisoning you. As adults, many of us continue operating from that old emotional blueprint without realizing it. We say yes when we mean no. We apologize for having needs. We over-explain our boundaries to avoid being misunderstood. We delay difficult conversations because discomfort feels unbearable. We agree to things that create resentment simply because disappointing someone feels more painful than disappointing ourselves. And every time we do that, something subtle happens internally. A small fracture appears between who we are and how we are behaving. That fracture may not seem dramatic at first. It feels like just one favor. Just one compromise. Just one more yes. But over time, those fractures accumulate. They become internal erosion. You begin losing access to your own voice. This is why chronic people-pleasers often struggle to answer simple questions like, what do you want? Or what do you need? They have spent so much time orienting toward others that their own internal signals have grown faint. They know what everyone else wants. They know what will keep the peace, but they have lost fluency in themselves. One of the hardest truths to accept is that saying yes to everyone else often means saying no to yourself, and that creates emotional debt. At first, the debt feels manageable. You tell yourself it is not a big deal. You convince yourself you're being mature, generous, or loving. But eventually the debt comes due. It shows up as resentment, exhaustion, irritability, emotional numbness, quiet anger, a growing desire to withdraw. Sometimes it looks like burnout. Sometimes it looks like anxiety. Sometimes it looks like unexplained sadness. But underneath all of it is often the same reality. You have been overdrafting your own emotional account to keep others comfortable. The fear of disappointing people can feel incredibly intense because, biologically, humans are wired for connection. Social belonging has always mattered for survival. Your nervous system interprets rejection as danger. That is why saying no can feel disproportionately threatening. Even when logically you know a boundary is healthy, emotionally, it can feel like you are risking abandonment. This is why many people avoid boundaries, not because they do not know what they need, but because they fear the emotional consequences of expressing it. But here's the deeper truth. Every time you avoid disappointing someone else, you may be reinforcing the belief that your comfort matters less than theirs. That belief quietly damages self-worth. Over time, you begin to relate to yourself as someone whose needs are negotiable. And once that happens, others often follow your lead. This is why boundaries are not selfish. They are identity-preserving. They are how you communicate to yourself, I matter too. Learning to disappoint others is not about becoming cold, unkind, or indifferent. It is about becoming honest. A clear no is more respectful than a resentful yes. When you say yes out of fear, you create false intimacy. The other person believes they are receiving your genuine agreement, but what they are actually receiving is your compliance. That is not connection. That is performance. Real connection requires truth, and truth often creates temporary discomfort. That discomfort is where many people stop. They interpret it as evidence that something is wrong. But discomfort is not always a warning sign. Sometimes it is simply the sensation of emotional growth. Think about what happens when you start lifting weights. The muscles protest. They shake. They resist. But that discomfort is how strength is built. Boundaries work the same way. The first few times you say no, your body may panic. Your heart may race. Your stomach may tighten. You may immediately feel guilty. You may want to retract your boundary and apologize. That reaction does not mean your boundary was wrong. It means your nervous system is learning a new pattern. This is emotional reconditioning. You are teaching your body that honesty does not equal danger. One of the most practical ways to begin is by identifying your non-negotiables. What values matter deeply to you? What protects your peace? What behaviors consistently drain you? What situations leave you feeling resentful? Your answers reveal where boundaries are needed. Then practice what can be called the low-stakes no. Decline something small. Say, I can't make it. Say, that doesn't work for me. Say, I need to think about it. Say, no, thank you. Do not over-explain. Do not apologize excessively. Do not turn your boundary into a debate. Let the sentence end. This feels radical because many people-pleasers believe they need to justify every boundary. But boundaries are not courtroom arguments. They are personal decisions. Not everyone will like them. That is part of the work. Some people may become uncomfortable when you stop over-functioning for them. They may call you selfish. They may say you have changed. And they may be right. You have changed. You are no longer available for self-abandonment. That may disappoint people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. But their disappointment is not proof you are doing something wrong. It may actually be proof you are doing something necessary. This is where courage enters the conversation. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to tolerate discomfort in service of something more important. In this case, what is more important is your integrity. Integrity means your internal reality and your external behavior match. It means your yes means yes. It means your no means no. It means you stop splitting yourself in half to preserve social comfort. There is immense energy trapped inside people-pleasing. Every false yes consumes emotional bandwidth. Every suppressed truth drains attention. Every avoided boundary leaks power. When you begin reclaiming that energy, something remarkable happens. You feel lighter, clearer, calmer, more present. You stop rehearsing imaginary conversations in your head. You stop obsessing over how others perceive you. You stop performing emotional labor that was never yours to carry. That reclaimed energy returns to you, and with it comes a stronger sense of self. This is how internal integrity is built, not through grand declarations, but through repeated moments of self-loyalty. Every time you honor your own boundary, you strengthen trust with yourself. And self-trust changes everything. It makes decision-making easier, it reduces anxiety, it creates emotional steadiness. It allows you to move through the world with less internal conflict. Most importantly, it transforms your relationships. When you stop offering the useful version of yourself and begin offering the real version, something shifts. Some relationships may fall away. That can feel painful, but what remains is more honest. People who truly value you will learn to respect your limits. They will adjust. They will not require your self-erasure as proof of love. And if they do, that relationship was built on your over-functioning, not your authenticity. Your primary responsibility is not to manage everyone else's comfort. It is to remain faithful to your own inner truth. That truth may sometimes disappoint people. That is okay. You are not here to be universally approved. You are here to live honestly. There is no peace in constant accommodation. There is no freedom in chronic self-betrayal. There is no healing in pretending your limits do not exist. At some point, every emotionally healthy person must make a choice. Will I continue protecting other people from disappointment? Or will I begin protecting myself from resentment? That choice changes lives. Because every time you choose yourself, not selfishly, but honestly, you send a new message to your mind. My needs matter. My truth matters. My peace matters. And eventually that message becomes belief. Then behavior. Then identity. One day you realize something profound. You no longer feel guilty every time you say no. You no longer panic when someone is disappointed. You no longer confuse tension with danger. You understand that healthy conflict is part of authentic living. And most importantly, you finally feel at home inside your own decisions. That is freedom. Not universal approval. Not perfect harmony. Freedom. The freedom to disappoint others without abandoning yourself. The freedom to speak honestly without collapsing emotionally. The freedom to honor your own needs without apology. That freedom is not selfish. It is mental health. It is emotional maturity. It is self-respect. And it is available to you. One boundary at a time. One honest conversation at a time. One courageous no at a time. Thank you for joining Mind Care is Self-Care. Until next time, protect your peace, reclaim your mind, and remember, your healing deserves your attention.